Hi, my name is Rok Habinc and I'm a fellow of the Ron Brown Fellowship Program. I studied MBA in Atlanta, Georgia at the Emory University. The specific program was designed for people from Central Eastern European countries to go and have their master's degree at universities in the US. My background was in electrical engineering, and as such I did some work in foreign trade before I went to the States for my studies. And when I got back I could completely change my career path, and I actually did so. I went into investment banking, spent a couple of years at an investment firm, then went on to run a company and also started with a couple of partners my own private equity firm. Today we invest in venture capital, but also in other forms of private equity investments, and it is definitely that the education in the US enabled me to go down this career path. What I see is that the education in the States broadened my career perspectives and opportunities, but also it changed in many ways my perspective of life and other opportunities as well. I realized some things that I wouldn't have had I only studied here, and I also implement these learnings in my day-to-day work. What I also got interested in when I was in the States was very much venture capital industry as such and venture investments. This was when I studied in the States. It was late 90s, and there was a lot of hype about it, whereas in Europe at the time we did not have as much of that. So I was able to transfer some of that knowledge from the US to European soil, and I do venture capital investments here. Now, unfortunately, very few people in Slovenia have had this kind of an opportunity, and the venture capital industry as such is not very well developed, and we would appreciate to have more young people, entrepreneurs, think about this way of doing business and think about expanding their business through the help of venture investors or angel investors, seek advice but also funds from people who can help them grow their companies into becoming international, multinational companies, rather than limit themselves to the scope of Slovenia as a market only. And that is definitely one of the things that having studied in the States gave me this broad mindset, which I might otherwise not have. We do our investments in Slovenia, but also in the neighboring countries, and having been a Ron Brown Fellow also helps me to have a broad network of friends and colleagues all over the region. There are 500 Ron Brown Fellowship alumni in the region, and I often tap on this network. I often contact the people from this network who also through the years have become my good friends. So I contact them both for my private but also my business ventures or ideas. I exchange ideas with them, I exchange information, and I help them when they are doing business in Slovenia as much as they help me when I do my part in the countries outside of Slovenia. The Ron Brown Fellowship Program has really enriched my life and opened avenues that I wouldn't have gone down otherwise, and I really enjoyed having taken part of this program, but also being a part of the Alumni Network that I am. I also run the Ron Brown Fellowship Association here in Slovenia, which joins the alumni of the program and also networks with the associations in other countries that took part of the program. And our main goal is to strive to keep this network alive, to keep these 500 people that share a very similar experience in the States, to keep this family of friends tied and connected to each other.